What's a doing in an England top, you might ask? Well, time to take some notes. You might have already noticed the number of England flags flying around in the UK, at the side of the roads, on lampposts, on bridges, even painted on roundabouts and zebra crossings. Now obviously we live in England, so it shouldn't be crazy to see England flags flying about. But the symbolism about the rise in flags, meaning what the actual flags stand for, is a lot more than just loving the UK and loving England. It's actually a stance against immigration. In fact, Farage, he made a speech just a few days ago talking about illegal immigration.
Over 3/4 of those that come are young, undocumented males who come from cultures that are entirely different from ours, who are very unlikely to assimilate into our community, who pose a risk to women and girls, and some of them, I'm afraid, pose a risk to national security. Frankly, the public have now just had enough.
3/4 of illegal immigrants are men who do not share the same values as UK society. They do not share the same culture as UK society. They come from countries who oppress their own women, and that now these young men have come to the UK as a security threat and as predators, and that the women of the UK are not safe. Now there's so much to unravel here, so let's just get straight into it. The UK birth rate is 1.4. Yeah? 1.4. That means that for every 20 people, which is 10 men and 10 women in a relationship, they're only having 14 kids. Now, if you want your population to increase, that number needs to be at least 21 kids per 20 people. But you're not getting that. So if the birth rate in the UK is low, what can you do? Well, you could increase the birth rate by encouraging your population to have more kids. But you're not going to do that, because what you've done is introduced women to the workforce. Women who want a career view children as a burden. Not only that, but the financial situation in the UK makes it a bit of a financial burden as well to have children. Not to mention this individualistic society that we live in, that is all about me, my fun, my enjoyment, my spare time, my chilling. And again, a child becomes a social burden. So what do you do if you cannot increase your birth rate and have more kids? You have to bring in immigrants. You got no two ways about it, otherwise your population declines and the jobs that are left off from the previous generation are just not being filled in. As your economy plummets, your population declines, and then you're in a really serious mess. So in come these immigrants apparently taking the benefits, taking the jobs, and attacking and targeting the women. First and foremost, did you know that almost half of junior doctors and consultants were non-white? A massive percentage of the NHS is not white. I wonder where the NHS would be today if there was no immigration. This idea that immigrants are the largest financial strain on the state is not true. In fact, and you'll be surprised to know that by percentage, the ethnicity receiving the most state financial support are white. The slogan being parroted that our women are not safe. This point I actually agree with. It is true. The women in the UK, they are not safe. They suffer horrific crimes, horrific abuse, horrific assault, but not by immigrants alone. In fact, what you find is that the percentage of people who abuse women is in line with the demographic makeup of the UK. So the UK, they're on 80% white, and 80% of people who abuse women are white. This idea that immigrants are disproportionately causing more crime and abuse against women is just not true. And no one's taking your jobs because I don't see you, Mr. Paul, with a felony and no teeth, complaining that an immigrant took his job as a doctor. And this thing about immigrants predating on women, this is a societal problem. It's not an immigrant problem, it's not a Muslim problem. It affects all portions of society, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity. So then why the propaganda? Why is an image being created around immigrants, where now a huge portion of UK society is so opposed to immigration? The answer is actually really simple. Number one, it's about deflecting the blame. It's the politicians that have screwed their own country up. It's the capitalist elite that have stolen from the pockets of the people. It's the multi-million and billion-pound corporations that are making money on money, wealth on wealth. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and who gets the blame? The immigrants. Because they're not going to point the finger at themselves, are they? So what do? Something that they've always done. you blame a minority. First it was the Jews, then it was the blacks, then it was the Irish, now it's the immigrants and Muslims. Secondly, this is populist politics. It's when politicians see an opportunity and think, you know what, I am going to be the man that leads the people away from the so-called deep state, the system, the capitalists, and I'm going to show them an alternative. And this is exactly what people like Nigel Farage are doing. They know the UK can't survive without immigration, but they peddle this anti-immigration mindset anyway. Why? For votes, for fame, for power. Society is moving in a way now that absolutely has a hatred for immigrants and absolutely has a hatred for Muslims. And we find ourselves in the middle of all this. How do we go about navigating it? Number one, spreading facts. Showing the people that this is a damn right lie. The immigrants are not taking over your country. Muslims are not the reason why you are struggling in life. And number two, we need to be ambassadors of Islam. That doesn't mean that we keep quiet. That doesn't mean that we become pushovers. That doesn't mean that we just go around smiling at people. Hello, Englishman, would you like to, come to my house for some biryani? No. It means that we understand our Islam and we explain our Islam to society in a way that allows them to see the truth. That shows to them, hang on a minute, Nigel Farage and co, they're taking us for a ride here. If we don't do that, if we don't take onus of what Muslims and immigrants really represent in this country, then who else is going to take a stand for us? We need to become a community who understands our Islam really well and who become ambassadors of our Islam to the rest of society. And inshallah then, the people can make up their own minds. Having said that, it seems to be difficult times ahead. There will be more hatred, there will be more riots, there will be more targeting of Muslim women and children. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep our community safe, to hold on to our Islam absolutely strongly, and to be ambassadors and representatives of what it means to be a Muslim, Islamic community living in the heart of the UK, so that the rest of wider society knows exactly what it is that we stand for.